it seems that the jaws of death have finally embraced the original Xbox One. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. If you missed it earlier, not only did I post a review for Chromagun, which is out now on Xbox and PS4, I also talked about how Microsoft said that the X is their fastest selling pre-order in Xbox history. Talked about that in a couple videos ago. Check it out if you haven't already. And this kind of ties into that a little bit, because the original Xbox One, the fat Xbox One, the OG Xbox One, is basically now discontinued and unavailable for sale. And I figured we'd talk about this for a minute, and then I'm going to give my original opinion on the Xbox One when it came out in 2013, which I don't think you guys have ever heard, really. So let's get into it. So I'm on MS Power User. They got this information via Kotaku that on Microsoft's website, the Microsoft Store, you could have been able to buy the OG Xbox One, but now it is marked as sold out. You can't get it pretty much anywhere. It is discontinued, and you can't purchase it. The only place you could probably purchase it maybe is Craigslist or eBay if you wanted this system. And we all knew it was going to happen eventually. The S was designed to replace this hulking monstrosity, because that's what it was. And the X is supposed to be kind of like the next gen, even though it's not really the next gen, but it is. So the original Xbox One they don't need it anymore, right? And boy, when this system came out, I did not like it at all. I mean, we all can remember 2013 when they initially unveiled it. We all remember the VCR memes and stuff like that. It is a big system, and I never really liked the look of it. I assumed the reason it was bigger was because they didn't want to go through the Red Ring of Death stuff that they went through with the 360. So I didn't like the design of the system. I felt it was too big. The controller, though, whew, I love me that Xbox One controller. The original iteration, though, that first version with the bumpers and how terrible they were, probably the worst version of that controller, but man, they have definitely perfected it since then with the Elite and the current S controller. I'm a big fan of that controller, and I've tried going back to the 360 controller, but I'm sorry. In my opinion, nothing compares to the Xbox One controller. And then, of course, the system launched with Kinect at $500. I hate Kinect. You guys know this. I've never been a fan of Kinect, either on the 360 or on the Xbox One. I thought it was a completely worthless peripheral that did more damage to the Xbox brand than help it. Yeah, sure, it extended the life cycle of the Xbox 360, but in the long run, I think it did more damage than, helped. It was one of the reasons why the system was $500 at launch, $100 more than its competitor, the PS4. And because of that, the system wasn't as powerful as the PS4 because they had to sell the Kinect. I understand why they tried doing it, because they thought the TV in the living room would be more important than it is already. They thought they could differentiate itself from the PlayStation, but it really couldn't. The Kinect was just this thing holding it back. So when Phil finally took office, back in 2014, one of the first things he did was get rid of the Kinect. I mean, do you guys remember when this system wasn't going to be able to work with the Kinect at all? I remember that. And I was like, they better get rid of this. And sure enough, they did. A lot of their original plans for the Xbox One all got dumped by the wayside. The DRM stuff, the always online stuff, the have-to-have Kinect stuff, all that thrown in the garbage, even though the employees tried their best to put a good face on all that stuff. Remember Major Nelson at E3 that year with Angry Joe, trying to sell this idea of the system and its policies, but nobody wanted it. The executives at Microsoft overturned that, made them basically dump anything that made the system unique, dumped the Kinect, dumped their always online strategy, dumped the DRM, which I was never a fan of any of that stuff. And I always kind of find it revisionist history where people look back right now on it and be like, yeah, maybe, the original Xbox One policies weren't so bad and it would have been so great. I'm always one of the person I'm like, are you serious? And this is coming from someone who is all digital on Xbox One. The problem is, I still like the choice. I still like being able to, if I don't want to get the game digital, to get it physical. I don't like that choice being taken away from me to serve the benefit of a corporation. So that's why I was so against it. I didn't like what they were doing with it, but that's in the past. I mean, we're just remembering the original Xbox, and that's why I'm kind of bringing it up, so you guys can understand where I came from in 2013. Now, I know some people say I'm a little bit negative on Xbox, but man, if you would have heard me back then, oh, people, you confuse me for like Jeremy Downer or the Downer. I don't think when I got this system on launch day for $500, which I was fine paying the price, right? I think I traded in a couple of my 360s, so the system, I got it for maybe like $200, which was fine, you know, and it had some really cool games I wanted to play originally. I wanted to play Rise and Killer Instinct, Crimson Dragon, Dead Rising 3, and Rise was cool. Killer Instinct turned out to be phenomenal. Crimson Dragon, not so much. Dead Rising 3 was fun, but I remember getting in the party for the first time, and how the party system worked in 2013 was just so atrocious, especially when you had perfection on the 360. Your last system did online and everything so perfectly. You had the blueprint right next to you, and yet they changed it for whatever reason. I don't know why. And it just made me dislike the system. It made me not want to get on and talk to my friends, because if you got on and into a party and they were playing multiplayer where the only 2 people could play Rise, anymore in the party, the game wouldn't work, and it was a whole bunch of nonsense. And then the achievements, which is something that I loved, right? I love achievements. Maybe not so much anymore, but back then I really did. I loved playing games and getting achievements. And all those damn dumb unlockings for achievements not working because they moved, you know, the achievement system to a server basically and had to be authenticated. The idea that if you're not connected to the, to live, and if you go play a game, like, offline, like, basically nothing works. I mean, the Xbox One is almost a useless system when you're not connected to live, which isn't that big of a deal, but some people thought it was. But man, I thought the Xbox One was such like a misstep for Microsoft, especially coming off what I consider one of the best systems ever made with the 360. I just was flabbergasted at how they screwed up so bad. Now, eventually, the people responsible all left the company. Phil was brought in, and I think Phil's done a great job, rescuing the brand. Sure, the exclusive situation right now is pretty bad. And he has said that, he has signed deals and games will be down the road. Phil's a man of his word, so I believe him. So whether you want to wait 2 years or 3 years is up to you. I think those games are coming. He said he wanted to focus on the hardware first, what they did with the S and the X. Great pieces of hardware, not underpowered, not bulky like the Xbox One. Then he wanted to focus on Xbox Live and backwards compatibility, which he did. And then he said he wanted to focus on the games. I mean, you can argue with which, section he should have started with, but that's the whole point. And I'm glad that they've improved, because Xbox One is way better in 2017 than it was in 2013. It's almost like a completely different system altogether. And it's one that I play on every day, or almost every day for the most part. That sits side by side with my PS4. My only kind of wish is that we just had more exclusives on the Xbox, and that's pretty much it. I really don't have many other complaints with Xbox at this point in time. I like the system. The X looks like a good piece of hardware. I love the controller. I like Xbox Live. I like how everything's all that situated. It's just missing that one crucial, integral ingredient that hopefully we get sooner rather than later. Anyways, guys, I know I've been rambling on a little bit about this. I hope you enjoyed this kind of like look back at my original thoughts about the Xbox One, the OG. It has been discontinued. Can't get it anymore. So rip Sweet Prince. All right. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, as it helps out the channel a lot. Make sure you hit that subscribe and notification button if you haven't already, or if you're new to the channel. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to check out all the videos. I really do appreciate it. And with that, I wish you a good day, and I will see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.